Life often feels cluttered, not just with things, but with thoughts, habits, and influences that weigh the mind down. Stoicism teaches that freedom is not found in accumulation, but in elimination. True liberty comes when the unnecessary is removed, when distractions, toxic influences, and internal conflicts are stripped away, leaving clarity, purpose, and peace. Every item we carry in our mind or environment shapes our experience of reality. By deliberately releasing what does not serve our growth, we create space for wisdom, calm, and principled action. The Stoic path is not about deprivation, it is about focus. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that external things are neither good nor bad. They only become burdens when they occupy attention unnecessarily. The mind must learn to differentiate between what supports virtue and what hinders it. Every cluttered thought, every habitual attachment, and every toxic influence can subtly dictate our emotions, our decisions, and our freedom. Removing these chains is the first step to mastery over self and circumstance. In this video, we explore 12 key things that must be eliminated to reclaim mental, emotional, and spiritual freedom. Each is paired with practical Stoic reflections, visualizations, and exercises that help anchor clarity and self-sovereignty. By the end, you will have the tools to recognize what no longer serves you, release it with purpose, and cultivate a life of focused liberty. If you are ready to transform your life, strengthen your mind, and gain clarity, subscribe to the channel. Each video brings cinematic Stoic insights, practical exercises, and reflections to help you live freely, decisively, and unshakably. 1. Toxic relationships. The people around you shape your thoughts, your emotions, and even your sense of self. Relationships that drain energy, provoke constant drama, or distort your perception are chains disguised as companionship. Stoicism teaches that freedom is cultivated internally, but it is also protected externally. By releasing connections that breed negativity, resentment, or manipulation, you reclaim space for clarity, peace, and growth. Your mind is a sanctuary. It cannot flourish when invaded by constant turbulence. Imagine your mind as a calm lake. Each toxic relationship is a stone thrown into the water, creating ripples that spread, disturbing the reflection of your inner self. Some ripples fade quickly, but repeated disturbances leave lasting turbulence. A Stoic recognizes the source of disturbance, observing it without immediate reaction, and then acts deliberately, distancing, setting boundaries, or letting go. Freedom is not cruelty, it is preservation of the mind's clarity and energy. Pause and reflect on your interactions. Ask, which connections support my growth, and which drain it? Detachment does not mean indifference, it means choosing where your attention flows. Like Marcus Aurelius advised, do not let the behavior of others dictate your peace. Release those whose presence consistently undermines your values or your focus. As you begin to remove these influences, your life becomes lighter, your judgment sharper, and your emotional stability stronger. Each step toward clarity strengthens your inner sovereignty. If this resonates, subscribe now for more cinematic Stoic lessons, practical exercises, and reflections that help you cultivate freedom, peace, and unshakable resilience in life. 2. Excessive attachment to material things. The pursuit of possessions can quietly dominate the mind, chaining your happiness to external circumstances. Stoicism teaches that freedom is found not in accumulation, but in detachment. Material wealth, objects, and comforts are fleeting. When your peace depends on them, you surrender control to things beyond your influence. By releasing attachment to possessions, you cultivate a mind that thrives in simplicity, focused on virtue rather than fleeting satisfaction. Visualize your mind as a spacious room. Each object you cling to occupies space, limiting light, clarity, and freedom. Some possessions bring joy temporarily, but excessive attachment clutters the mind, leaving little room for reflection, creativity, or inner peace. The Stoic removes unnecessary clutter, understanding that value lies not in ownership, but in discernment and purposeful use. Each item is a tool, not a master. Ask yourself, do I control my possessions, or do they control me? Recognize the subtle ways attachment shapes decisions, emotions, and priorities. By consciously reducing dependence on material goods, you regain autonomy over your desires and focus on what truly matters: character, reason, and intentional living. True freedom emerges when your mind is untethered from things that cannot secure your well-being. Practice gratitude for what you have, but do not let it dictate your peace. Release the belief that happiness is bought or acquired. Each step toward simplicity clears the mental landscape, allowing virtue, clarity, and resilience to flourish. Subscribing to this channel ensures you continue cultivating Stoic wisdom and practical strategies that help you cultivate freedom. inner calm, and unshakable focus in every area of life. 3. Negative self-talk. The voice inside your head can be your fiercest ally or your harshest enemy. Negative self-talk, doubt, and self-criticism silently erode confidence, distort perception, and block growth. Stoicism teaches that the mind is your most valuable possession. If corrupted by habitual negativity, freedom and clarity are lost. By eliminating destructive inner dialogue, you cultivate resilience, calm, and the capacity to act with purpose, regardless of external circumstances. Visualize your mind as a serene garden. Each negative thought is a weed, taking root and spreading, choking the vitality of clarity, courage, and self-belief. Left unchecked, these weeds dominate the landscape, making even small decisions heavy with fear or doubt. The Stoic gardener observes without attachment, uproots the weeds with reason and reflection, and plants seeds of virtue, patience, and self-compassion in their place. Pause and reflect. Do your thoughts empower you or undermine you? Identify patterns of self-criticism and question their truth. Are they based on observation or are they habitually exaggerated? By consciously reframing negative statements, you reclaim authority over your perception and inner state. Each deliberate correction strengthens mental sovereignty. Practice replacing criticism with clarity. I acted to the best of my ability, or I can improve without condemning myself. Over time, the habit of affirming reason over reaction fortifies confidence, focus, and peace. Your mind becomes a sanctuary of intentional thought, impervious to the corrosive whispers of doubt. Subscribe for more Stoic reflections, practical exercises, and tools to silence destructive inner voices, cultivate self-mastery, and create a life of clarity, freedom, and unshakable composure. 4. Procrastination and wasted time. Time is the one resource that cannot be replenished. Every moment squandered on trivial distractions, indecision, or delay is lost forever. Stoicism teaches that life's value lies not in its length, but in how intentionally it is lived. By eliminating procrastination and directing attention to purposeful action, you reclaim sovereignty over your life and align daily behavior with virtue, clarity, and growth. Visualize your life as a river flowing steadily toward the sea. Each act of procrastination is a dam, slowing the current, causing stagnation, and diverting energy away from your true purpose. The Stoic removes these obstacles, allowing focus, discipline, and intention to guide the flow. Every deliberate action, no matter how small, strengthens momentum and cultivates mastery over self. Pause and reflect. Where am I wasting energy and what truly matters? Identify tasks, habits, or patterns that consume time without contributing to growth, learning, or meaningful relationships. Replace distraction with intention. By observing how your time is spent and redirecting it to aligned action, you strengthen autonomy and ensure that each day contributes to personal and philosophical development. Practice daily time audits, note where attention drifts, gently correct course, and create small, purposeful routines. Each act of discipline reinforces focus, develops patience, and cultivates the Stoic principle that freedom is found in conscious engagement with life. Procrastination loses power when replaced by clarity, routine, and mindful action. If this resonates, subscribe to the channel for cinematic Stoic lessons, practical strategies, and exercises to master time, eliminate distractions, and create a life of unshakable focus, freedom, and intentional purpose. 5. Complaining and constant criticism. Complaints and constant criticism weigh the mind and poison the spirit. When the focus is perpetually on what is wrong, unfair, or lacking, peace and freedom are surrendered to external circumstances. Stoicism teaches that external events are beyond our control. Only our judgment and response lie within our power. By eliminating habitual complaining and criticism, you reclaim authority over perception and cultivate calm, clarity, and purposeful action. Visualize your mind as a clear sky. Every complaint is a dark cloud drifting across it, obscuring sunlight, creating storms, and dampening the vibrancy of thought and action. Each critique of others or circumstances adds weight to the clouds, keeping inner freedom hidden beneath them. The Stoic observes the formation of these clouds, gently releasing them through awareness, reflection, and acceptance of what cannot be changed. Pause and reflect. Am I reacting to reality or am I indulging in judgment and negativity? Recognize that complaints rarely alter external events, they primarily disturb your own mind. By reframing perspective, observing events without emotional exaggeration, and focusing on what can be influenced, peace is restored, and mental energy is liberated for constructive action. Practice replacing complaints with observations and solutions. This situation is challenging. What can I do to respond wisely? Or this person's behavior is difficult. How can I maintain composure? Over time, this shifts the habitual narrative, transforms mindset, and strengthens the ability to remain calm amidst challenges. Subscribe now for more Stoic insights, practical exercises, and reflections to eliminate mental clutter, cultivate inner calm, and master the art of deliberate, unshakable living. 6. Fear of change and uncertainty. Fear of change is one of the heaviest chains that bind the mind. Humans naturally resist the unknown, clinging to comfort, habit, and the illusion of control. Stoicism teaches that the world is in constant flux, and wisdom lies in accepting uncertainty as the natural order of life. By releasing fear of change, you cultivate adaptability, mental resilience, and freedom to act without hesitation or hesitation-induced paralysis. Visualize your mind as a tree standing in the wind. When the gusts of change arrive, the tree can either resist and break or bend gracefully, rooted but flexible. Fear keeps the branches rigid, creating tension and vulnerability. Acceptance, reflection, and reason allow the tree to sway with the currents, absorbing lessons from each movement while remaining anchored. The Stoic mind learns to flow with life rather than resist it futilely. Pause and reflect. Am I resisting the inevitable or preparing to navigate it with wisdom? Fear of uncertainty often magnifies minor concerns, preventing growth and causing needless suffering. By observing fear, questioning its basis, and responding with principle, you neutralize its influence. Change becomes an opportunity for learning, refinement, and the exercise of inner virtue. Practice embracing small uncertainties daily. Try new routines, accept minor inconveniences, and observe your reactions without judgment. Gradually, discomfort becomes a teacher, and fear loses its power over thought and action. The Stoic mind remains calm, anchored in reason, and responsive to whatever life presents. If this resonates, subscribing to this channel helps you get more cinematic Stoic guidance, practical exercises, and reflections to strengthen resilience, embrace change, and cultivate unshakable freedom in every circumstance. 7. Envy and comparison. Comparison is a silent thief of joy and freedom. When the mind constantly measures itself against others, contentment is replaced by dissatisfaction, and inner peace is sacrificed at the altar of external validation. Stoicism teaches that virtue, wisdom, and self-mastery are the true measures of a life well lived. By eliminating envy and comparison, you reclaim autonomy over your thoughts, embrace your unique path, and cultivate clarity and resilience. Visualize your mind as a river flowing freely toward the sea. When envy intrudes, rocks and debris obstruct the current, diverting energy and creating turbulence. Each comparison drags the mind away from its natural course, creating unnecessary frustration and distraction. The Stoic observes the obstruction, gently removes it, and allows the flow to continue undisturbed and purposeful. Your journey is your own. Measuring it against others only clouds perception and disrupts focus. Pause and reflect. Am I inspired by others, or am I measuring my worth against theirs? Recognition of envy as a mental habit allows you to consciously redirect attention to personal growth, virtue, and deliberate action. Progress is internal, measured by effort, principle, and self-mastery, not by external achievements or approval. Practice gratitude and self-observation. Celebrate your own progress, acknowledge effort, and focus on self-improvement rather than comparison. Over time, this cultivates confidence, clarity, and an unshakable mind. The Stoic thrive in observation and self-awareness, untroubled by the achievements or failures of others. For cinematic Stoic reflections, practical exercises, and guidance to eliminate envy, embrace your path, and cultivate freedom, inner peace, and mental clarity in every moment, subscribe now. 8. Gossip and toxic conversations. Words have power. They shape thought, influence perception, and can either uplift or poison the mind. Gossip and toxic conversations distract, inflame negativity, and subtly erode mental freedom. Stoicism teaches that the mind must remain focused on what is virtuous, useful, and true. By eliminating participation in harmful speech, you safeguard your peace, maintain integrity, and cultivate clarity of thought. Visualize your mind as a pristine mirror. Gossip smudges the surface, distorting reflection and obscuring truth. Each toxic conversation leaves residue, shaping perspective with unnecessary judgment or malice. The Stoic observes without engagement, gently removing mental smudges and preserving the clarity of observation. By refusing to indulge in idle talk, the mind remains sharp, focused, and unshaken by external negativity. Pause and reflect. Does this conversation contribute to wisdom, clarity, or virtue, or does it feed unnecessary conflict and distraction? Awareness allows you to step away gracefully, redirecting attention to meaningful engagement or introspection. Freedom is found in discerning what deserves mental energy and what does not. Practice mindfulness in speech and listening. Avoid repeating rumors, judging others, or dwelling on negativity. Engage in conversations that foster understanding, growth, and insight. Over time, this cultivates mental resilience, reinforces principle, and protects your mind from unnecessary chaos. If this resonates, subscribe to the channel for Stoic lessons, exercises, and reflections to eliminate toxic influence, preserve inner clarity, and cultivate unshakable focus, integrity, and freedom in every aspect of life. 9. Worrying about the opinions of others. The approval of others is fleeting, inconsistent, and often misaligned with your values. Stoicism teaches that true freedom arises from self-governance, not external validation. When the mind is enslaved to others' opinions, peace and clarity are lost, replaced by anxiety, doubt, and reactive behavior. By eliminating concern for judgment, you reclaim autonomy, focus, and inner calm. Visualize your mind as a mountain standing tall above a valley shrouded in fog. The fog represents the opinions, judgments, and expectations of others, swirling unpredictably below. You remain grounded, observing without being carried away by the shifting mists. The Stoic recognizes that only internal virtue matters. The perceptions of others are external, beyond control, and irrelevant to true character. Pause and reflect. Whose approval do I seek, and does it align with my principles? Awareness allows you to distinguish between constructive feedback and unnecessary influence. Your actions are guided by reason, reflection, and principle, not the transient opinions of others. By releasing concern for judgment, your decisions become deliberate, your emotions stable, and your life freer. Practice internal validation daily. Affirm your values, observe your decisions without seeking external confirmation, and measure success by personal growth and virtue. Over time, the mind strengthens its independence, remaining unshakable amidst praise or criticism. By mastering this principle, you free your mind from external influence, cultivate clarity, and live an unshakable life of principle, focus, and freedom. Subscribe to the channel for cinematic Stoic guidance, practical exercises, and reflections. 10. Living in the past or obsessing about the future. The mind often suffers when anchored in what has already happened or in fears of what may come. Stoicism teaches that the present moment is the only domain where action, reflection, and virtue can exist. By releasing attachment to past regrets and future anxieties, you reclaim freedom, focus, and peace. Every moment spent outside the present diminishes control over life and blinds the mind to opportunity. Visualize your mind as a vast, open field bathed in sunlight. Dwelling on the past plants weeds of regret, while obsessing over the future casts shadows of fear. Both disrupt clarity, energy, and intentional action. The Stoic observes these mental intrusions without attachment, allowing them to pass, and roots attention in the present moment, where reason and virtue flourish. Pause and reflect. Am I acting in the moment, or am I trapped by memory or speculation? Awareness allows you to discern what is actionable now versus what is irrelevant. Regret cannot undo the past, and worry cannot dictate outcomes. Only deliberate engagement with the present fosters growth, resilience, and true freedom. Practice anchoring yourself in daily routines and mindful reflection. Observe breath, sensations, tasks, and interactions with presence and intention. Each conscious moment of engagement strengthens mental clarity, fortifies resilience, and cultivates an unshakable sense of autonomy over thought and action. If this resonates, subscribing to the channel brings you more cinematic Stoic lessons and practical exercises to release regret, dissolve anxiety, and master the art of living fully in the present, cultivating freedom, clarity, and inner strength. 11. Excessive desire for approval or recognition. The craving for praise, validation, or acknowledgement subtly enslaves the mind. Stoicism teaches that external recognition is fleeting and beyond control. True contentment arises from internal virtue, principle, and reasoned action. By releasing the desire for approval, you reclaim mental freedom, act with authenticity, and cultivate unwavering confidence in your own judgments and choices. Visualize your mind as a torch burning steadily in the night. Seeking approval is like turning the flame outward, hoping others will notice its light. Each moment spent seeking validation dims its intensity, leaving the torch flickering and vulnerable. The Stoic redirects attention inward, fueling the fire with reason, reflection, and principle, allowing it to burn brightly regardless of external acknowledgement. Pause and reflect. Do I act for my values or for the applause of others? Awareness allows you to distinguish actions rooted in principle from those motivated by recognition. By prioritizing virtue over external praise, every decision becomes deliberate, focused, and aligned with personal growth rather than fleeting admiration. Practice self-validation daily. Celebrate integrity, effort, and the alignment of action with principle. Observe the subtle pull of praise and consciously redirect attention to internal standards. Over time, the mind becomes independent, resilient, and unshakable, no longer swayed by admiration or criticism. If this resonates, subscribe to the channel for cinematic Stoic guidance, reflections, and exercises to release dependence on recognition, strengthen inner confidence, and cultivate freedom, clarity, and mastery over your mind in every aspect of life. 12. Excessive attachment to comfort and avoidance of difficulty. Seeking constant comfort and avoiding challenges may seem natural, but it subtly enslaves the mind. Stoicism teaches that virtue, resilience, and growth are forged through deliberate engagement with difficulty, discomfort, and trials. By eliminating attachment to comfort, you cultivate courage, strengthen discipline, and unlock true freedom, unshaken by hardship or adversity. Visualize your mind as a mountain climber ascending a rugged peak. Clinging to easy paths or avoiding steep ascents may feel safe, but it limits vision, strength, and achievement. Each challenge embraces sharpens skill, tests endurance, and expands perspective. The Stoic does not seek hardship unnecessarily, but recognizes that avoidance of difficulty hinders the development of virtue, wisdom, and mental sovereignty. Pause and reflect. Am I avoiding discomfort at the cost of growth, or am I willing to face challenges with reason and courage? Awareness allows you to confront fear, step into uncertainty, and act with integrity even when the path is difficult. Freedom lies not in ease, but in mastery of self, regardless of circumstance. Practice embracing small discomforts daily, confront difficult conversations, endure minor inconveniences, and step into challenges that stretch capacity and patience. Each act of deliberate engagement strengthens resilience, cultivates discipline, and reinforces the Stoic principle that growth emerges from conscious action, not ease or avoidance. Subscribe now to this channel for cinematic Stoic lessons, practical exercises, and reflections to release dependence on comfort, embrace challenge, and cultivate unshakable freedom, clarity, and strength of mind. Life is a series of choices, each shaping the mind, spirit, and freedom we experience. External circumstances, people, and distractions often obscure clarity, creating subtle chains that limit action and peace. Stoicism teaches that liberation is not found in accumulation, avoidance, or approval, but in intentional elimination, removing what does not serve reason, virtue, or growth. By releasing toxic relationships, material attachment, negative self-talk, procrastination, envy, gossip, fear, and dependence on comfort, the mind becomes a sanctuary of clarity, resilience, and unshakable freedom. Each step of elimination strengthens judgment, cultivates focus, and fosters a life aligned with principle rather than chaos, opinion, or distraction. Visualize your mind as a vast, sunlit landscape. Each obstacle, fear, or attachment removed clears space for insight, wisdom, and virtue to flourish. The Stoic path is deliberate and reflective, allowing freedom to arise naturally, grounded in observation, reason, and intentional action. Life's challenges no longer threaten peace, they become opportunities to exercise strength, courage, and composure. Remember, freedom is cultivated, not given. Each act of conscious elimination sharpens perception, enhances clarity, and anchors the mind in sovereignty. True liberation is the mastery of self, unwavering regardless of circumstance or influence. If this journey resonates, subscribing to the channel ensures for more cinematic Stoic insights, practical exercises, and reflections to release what no longer serves you. Strengthen inner resilience, and cultivate unshakable clarity, freedom, and peace in every aspect of life. Build your inner fortress, and let each deliberate choice lead to a life of profound purpose and serenity. And let each deliberate choice lead to a life of profound purpose and serenity.